fine, and it wasn't that bad. It was just flipping a little bit. So anyway, I told her to bring it home, and I'll take it in a couple of weeks to somewhere else, you know. And so 2 weeks later, I went back to the same place, the same guy, and the estimate was $285. What do you think of that?
I don't know. Sounds like, you know, someplace that wants to take advantage of a female. Interesting. Yeah, there's places like that. You gotta watch out. Gotta keep tabs on. Oh, my wife doesn't usually bring cars. That's my job. I have to be taking care of all that kind of stuff. So, it's not an issue here. I don't even know if it would happen here. Like I said, I'm usually the one that gets the maintenance done, and but that's worthy of making a few phone calls on. AF9P WB9 MXX.
Yeah, not good. And you know, I do hear this to this day. I mean, you think it'd be better? Maybe it is, but frequently I hear women getting taken advantage of a lot of places, but particularly car dealerships. I've still got colleagues that are in business, women that use their car in business, and they take them in, and most of them have some difficulties yet. A couple don't. In fact, they're just the opposite. But what are you going to do? Yeah, I'm going to have a discussion with them, and I haven't verified that they've actually fixed the cruise yet. Probably do that this weekend if the weather is nice. Today got kind of funky. I don't know if Danny, if Nick had mentioned it, we got winter back here again. Not severe, but boy, do we get teased for the last several weeks, and now we have winter back today. It's blustery, it's cold, it's spitting and pissing cold and snow. Hopefully that'll go away. Oh well. Oh, and speaking of transmissions, Danny, I was listening somewhere on 80 to a couple old dudes croak on the subject of vehicles. The one guy, he was angry. God, was he angry. He's got an F-250. It's out of warranty. I didn't hear all of the detail except to hear him tell me, or not tell me, but tell his friend he's talking to, that they're talking $12,000 to repair or replace. I presume replace at that cost. His transmission for his F-250, and it sounded like it might have been maybe 7 years old or so, out of warranty. Holy bumblebees, I just couldn't believe it. But on the other hand, after what I just had done, yeah, I can believe $12,000 for a transmission. That's horrible. KK5XU, AF9P.
AF9P, KK5XU. When you consider I paid $3,200 for a brand new Corvette Stingray in 1967, you know, that just tells you what's going on, over.
Oh yeah, well, my Charger, my '74 Charger was $4,800 out the door. Tax license, everything, and an upgrade on the radio from AM radio to AM FM 8-track. 8-track. But yeah, $4,800, and the SE was the top non-performance model, and yeah, I don't know these things. I remember though, as guys were buying cars at work, just a year or two after mine, and they were telling me what they were paying. I was like, really? That seems like a lot. But yeah, it doesn't take long for the car prices to go up, and they're all insane now. They're really insane now. Yeah, but $12,000 though, I can't imagine that for a transmission. I could see 5 or 6, but 12, that didn't seem right. Unless it was an entire 4x4 packet. I don't know. It seemed kind of, to me that seems kind of high. AF9P WB9 MXX.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true or not, Nick, but that's what the guy said. And I'd only been sandbagging for maybe 25 minutes, but he was really hot about it. And he didn't go into any other details except the $12,000 for his transmission, for his F-250, which, with the F-250 of that age, it would have had either a 6.2 liter gas engine or a 6.7 diesel. And I'm not even sure. Well, I'm not sure the year. I'm presuming it's, well, it might even be an 18 or 19. 19, they changed it from a 6-speed to a 10-speed. I have a 10-speed in mine, but it's a different 10-speed that they have in the F-250. The output and input shafts are 50% bigger. Everything's heavier. Everything's bigger than mine. But yeah, I'm gonna check out of curiosity next time I drive through the Ford dealership and see my service writer. I'm gonna ask him about that because I know I could see 6 or 7, like you're saying, Nick, for a new one, but maybe that's just it. Maybe it's $6,000 for the transmission. Hey, $6,000 worth of labor. They got to take everything apart. I don't know. I have no clue. But I'm gonna. I am gonna check. I after $1,000 for a lube job, I really felt lubed. KK5 XUAF 9P.
$1,000 for a lube job?
Well, I maybe you didn't hear the story. I won't repeat all of it, but my end of this thing taking my car, they have differential fluid change, transmission fluid change, transfer case, engine oil, and plus $100 for my part of a deductible for warranty work, which was almost $600. My portion was $100 anyway. My total end of it was $967, I believe.
Oh, yeah, but you're talking about all the fluids.
Yeah, well, it still seems ridiculously high to me, but what do I know? Over to you, Dean.
And my Kubota, I took it in, did all the fluids on it, and it was, this was in 2005, and that Kubota tractor, it was $890 for all the fluids.
Well, yeah, it's there's a lot. Well, plus, a lot of those, you're talking about transfer cases and stuff. Those are all sealed units. I don't know if they have to. Sometimes they got to go in there with a vacuum unit to draw out all the old stuff. But it's that's all big money now. Especially if you go in with synthetic. That's all. Yeah, that adds a lot too. Just go, and that's probably the best bet. I mean, I would do that too. I usually go with for my engine oil. I usually get synthetic blend. The way that my service is 10,000 miles or sooner if the computer monitors your driving temperatures and all that stuff. So it doesn't require synthetic blend, but because of the longer time before you need a change, I prefer doing that, and that way it holds up pretty nice. And I tell you, I check the oil, and even sometimes just before it's time to take it in, and it's not even that dirty. Before, man, you can pull the dipstick out, halfway through before 1,200 miles or something like that, it'd be black. Now it's just starting to get a little bit of a color to it. AF9P WB9MXX.
Yeah, WB9MXX, the Group AF9P. Many years ago, I switched everything over to synthetic, right down to my lawnmower. In my opinion, the only way to go. And something here too. I got to find out, and they give us free. I like that as a joke. Free oil changes for the Honda for I don't know what 2 years or something. And the first one is at 7,500 miles, and the second one It's at 10,000 miles. I said, no, that's not happening. As a matter of fact, the oil is going to get dumped here when I hit 2,500 miles. I know, Nick, you're going to tell me, well, everything's all engineered to the point that you don't have to do that anymore. Well, I've seen enough evidence that isn't true. And particularly the break-in oil. They don't do a break-in service oil at all anymore. I guess they're happy enough, letting metal particles float around and depending upon the filter that they have, catching every bit of it. I don't believe in that. And it's a relatively inexpensive thing to do. So at 2,500, it'll get its first oil change. Whether they do it or not, it's going to be a question. They might say, we won't do it until you hit, not free anyway, until you hit so-and-so mileage. And I'm not going to run that to 7,500 miles. It's ridiculous. But I do want to do the break-in probably at 2,500. I used to rebuild engines, Nick, and things are different today, I know, in machining. But just the same, I saw the difference between doing a break-in oil change versus not. And I used to actually do them, within 50 to 100 miles after a rebuild. And you just couldn't believe the crap that was hung up and stuck in the filter. And you have to wonder how much, went down through the rest of the system. But I used to cut the filters open after I rebuilt an engine and dumped it, drained it, and cut the filters open. Just be really surprised to see what you saw for metal. KK5XU in the group, AF9P.
AF9P, KK5XU. Well, I agree with you. I always change them at 2,000, and whether they pay for it or not. And Hyundai does it for 3 years, but I went in at 2,000 and made them change it, but they wouldn't pay for it. I had to pay, I think it was $68, and but I made them change all the fluids for the rest of the stuff too. And boy, they hollered and said, that's not necessary and everything. I said, nope. I always change all the transmission fluid and everything at 2,000 miles on a brand new car. And they said, well, we're not going to cover that with our service warranty. And I said, well, that's fine. I'll pay for it. But I know it'll make a difference. And I, like you, have rebuilt a few engines and stuff too. And I've dumped a lot of filters and I also get a magnetic cap or plug, magnetic plug in the oil and stuff like that. That was one thing I really liked about my my GMC one-ton dually with the Duramax in it. It had the spin-off filter in the Allison transmission stuff. And man, that was a really sweet transmission. Great engine too. Nick, pick it up, WV9MXX KK5XU. You guys skipped me once. I'm going to go get some water and go to the bathroom. KK5XU. I'll be back in about 5.
Alrighty, KK5XU, WB9MXX in the group. Now, see, I don't know what they got now. My newest car is a 2017, the Jeep Cherokee. And both the Charger and the Jeep had a break-in, what do you call it, schedule. So many RPM, get on the highway, vary the speed, whatever, I don't remember now, but, and then change the oil. So they both had in the manual it actually said it was a break-in period. I know some other makes eliminated it, but mine still had it. And but I go by the manual for the oil changes. Because the fuel is different now too. You don't have the lead, the engine tolerances are designed better. And I have my poor buddy passed away from complications of diabetes. He was actually younger than me, but he was a senior mechanic at Dodge dealership. He went to all the classes every year. Plus, his dealership had the state contract for servicing the state patrol cars. So he had to go to Ford and Chevy, all of the, you know, but he told me right off the bat, no, you know, if you do it any sooner, if you change oil sooner, you're just wasting oil. You're wasting your tire on the, you know, it's you know, you're throwing oil into the system, and but it has to be the car. It has to be the car that says to do that. And you know, now the new cars, you know, yours probably do too there, Ron. It monitors how you're driving, and you have to reset it when you get oil change, and it gives you a warning. I think it's about 500 miles before the, you know, at first it says change oil soon, and then if you don't, if you keep driving, it says change oil now. Yeah, it comes up on there. Then you got to reset that when you get the oil changed. But like I said, I check it, you know, and I'm checking the oil. It's not dirty. I mean, yeah, you can tell it's starting to change, you know, but that's right before I bring it in for oil change. They're just, you know, with the cleaner burning fuel and the. I'll tell you one thing. I was a little concerned when my Charger was no problem. My Charger, since the day one, it doesn't use any oil at all. You know, it might be down a little bit by oil change time. But when I bought the Jeep, I got a little concerned because I you know, obviously brand new, I checked the oil kind of frequently, and it needed a quart after 300 miles. And I said, that's not too good. But it's everything seeded, and that now it never did that again. I mean, I go oil change, and it doesn't need any oil added. So it must have been the ring seating or something like that. But my Charger, from day one, I never used any oil on it at all. I knock on wood, I shouldn't jinx it. But fortunately, you know, with the Jeep, after the first break-in period, I don't have it doesn't use oil anymore. I don't remember seeing it smoking or anything either, but. Anyways, it was down. I had to add a quart after 300 miles, and that was a little concerning. But after that, it was fine. So, and I had it long enough now that I can know. But yeah, they make things different now. But it's a combination of the gas too. Now, keep in mind, I don't give it heavy duty use. I'm not towing any, so that 10,000 miles or 1 year is thrown out the window when you're towing or severe use like taxi cabs. AF-19 WB9 MXX.
Yeah, well, this time of year is not so bad, but obviously from about April through October, November, yeah, 70% of use on that vehicle of mine is relatively severe, towing that travel trailer and other trailers and what have you. I try to hold it under between 4,000 and 5,000 miles, no matter what. Tops at 5, and that's with a trip. Then I'll change it. The Honda's 020 weight oil, synthetic, full synthetic. And Honda's had some problems. You get out of the warranty period, and you can see just how many engines are popped. It's a good engine, but with the people that have you know, done the specified 10,000 mile oil changes, you can see the increased number of maintenance issues and failed engines and engines that are on their way out. There's a couple fellows on YouTube that's all they do is Honda engines and Hondas, and that's it. And they can show you, and have shown you, and demonstrated the difference, at least with Honda. So it's one of those, don't do as they say, do something better. And then the thing will run 300,000 miles. They frankly don't care. Nor does Ford care. Yeah, I doubt that even Chrysler cares. You know, you get out of warranty, they don't care. And, you know, most people probably trade the car off before, before those periods are up anyway. So, anyway, we'll see how the Honda thing works out. So far, so good. I'm curious too, by the way, do you recall